So anyway, I thought I'd do a video about myself because, I haven't exactly said a lot about myself on my other videos. So, why did I get into motorcycles? Well, my stepfather growing up, he used to ride a Harley, and my actual dad was always into dirt bikes and whatnot. And I think I rode my first dirt bike when I was about 7 years old, and promptly wrecked it. Never really got back onto one until my later years, and I actually had a KLR. I think it was a 650. It was a dual sport Kawasaki that I rode when I was in high school, and and then when I was about 19, 20, I had a CBR 900, which was a nice bike, but it got me into trouble. It's kind of like when you have all that power available, you tend to use it, and it kind of brings out the asshole in you. I'd sit there and I'd race cars and other motorcycles and do all the hooligan stuff, weaving in and out of traffic and everything else, just being a general idiot. And eventually I ended up paying for it and pulled a header at about 45 miles an hour. And honestly, I was lucky I lived. Ended up breaking my left wrist pretty badly. Got some road rash on my shoulder, and ended up costing me quite a bit of money. I love when people don't even notice you. Even the pedestrians don't notice you. And totaled the bike, and it kind of sucked. Don't mind my pasty wet legs. It's laundry day. And yes, you really should be wearing jeans when you're riding a bike, but hey, it's Florida. At least I'm wearing shoes. Anyhow, ended up totaling the bike, and I ended up not riding again for quite a while. The next bike I rode was my cousin's husband's. I moved in with him and with them, and they had a Sportster 1200 that I rode for a while, and I actually did quite a bit of riding on that. Got my license back and everything, because my license had of course expired in that time, and ended up having an accident on that bike too, but there wasn't much I could do about that one. My best rule of advice there is don't ever get into a hurry. That was my mistake. I was in a hurry and was not paying attention as much as I should have, and I was merging over into the carpool lane after getting on the freeway, and I was looking over my left shoulder at to check the lane next to me, and while I was doing that, a lady merged onto the freeway while yakking on her phone, and she realized she was about to hit the wall and slammed on her brakes, because when I was looking ahead of me, I had probably 20 seconds ahead of me that was clear. And then when I looked back, all I saw was a minivan in front of me slamming on its brakes. I leaned the bike over to the left, didn't quite clear it, and ended up clipping the rear of the minivan with my right hand grip, shattered my hand. Had spiral compound fractures, needed to get pins and screws and everything, so that my hand would heal. Cost a lot of money and time. Luckily, the bike wasn't damaged. Man, that guy's got a messed up transmission. Luckily, the bike wasn't that badly damaged, and one of the firefighters who came was able to ride it to the hospital for me. So, that happened in Phoenix, Arizona, on Highway 101, just north of Tolleson. But, my mistake was I was worried about getting over into that left lane, and instead of paying attention to the on-ramp that was right by me. And, ordinarily, if I hadn't been in a hurry, I would have waited until I cleared the on-ramp. And that was my mistake. So, anyhow, don't ever get into a hurry. I've led a bit of a checkered past. I made some mistakes in my youth, which is why being a truck driver is about the only profitable position I can get. I had worked as a computer technician back in the day, but that's really a cutthroat industry these days. All the good paying jobs, are shipped overseas, and the local jobs are, there's 2,000 applicants for every opening, and they don't pay very well. I mean, I have a friend of mine who pretty much has a PhD in computers, and he's working for a church. He's been working in computers longer than I've been alive, and he's working for peanuts. And places like Geek Squad don't actually want to actually hire workers who know what the hell they're doing, because then they can't program them to rip people off. And then you got the other problem is most of the people these days can't afford to fix their computer. They can't afford to buy a computer outside of credit. So, makes it a pain in the ass. So, if you're considering getting into truck driving, I mean, it's not the best paying job in the world, but you can make really good money, minus the not having a home life thing. My take home, it varies. That's the one problem with trucking, is it's very performance based. You're paid by the mile, you're paid per the load completed. So one week you could make $3,000, and the next week you could be lucky to make $500. And that's the problem with it. So it also depends on what company you go with, whether you're an owner-op or a company driver or whatever. And, I was a company driver for a while, and I got suckered in by the become an owner-op sales pitch of my company. And there are definitely times I wish I had stayed a company driver. But, I'm happy with where I'm at right now. So, I do wish I could be home more often to ride my bike like this, and I love it. And it's actually pretty out here. The humidity kind of sucks at times, but anyhow, Yeah, if it wasn't for the truck driving gig, I would not be where I'm at today. You know, at the time I got the job, I was couch surfing, essentially, you know, living by the grace of relatives who were very nice, and I was able to get this job and turn my life around. So, you know, I recommend it to anyone who's looking for a way out. So, anyhow, that's it for now. Until next time, yeah, keep the rubber side down, the shiny side up.